Hey there, and welcome to the Unleash Your Greatness Within podcast. I am blown away. I have unleashed my own greatness within, and I want to show you exactly how I was able to do it. I have gone without food for 10 days, solid. This is the 11th day right now. I still haven't eaten any food for the past 10 days, right? Even though I'm on the 11th day. Later today, I will close the fast, but let me tell you something. Wait, I ended up going 11 days. I will also tell you that because we went the extra day, the full 11th day, I weighed myself yesterday morning and I had lost enough weight to equal 16 pounds. I feel amazing. My body is regenerated. My mind is regenerated. I feel strong. I tell you what, I'm going to give you the whole process. My whole goal is to help you unleash your greatness within. So let's get after it.
You already know. My passion and my mission to help you unleash your greatness within. My heart goes out to the underdogs that's on their way. If you think you can go from good to great, okay, let's motivate. GreatnessWithin.com. TJ Hoisington. GreatnessWithin.com. Oh, if you dreaming it, believe in it, work hard for it, and in the process serve others in a positive way. Think you can do it.
So I have some notes. Let me just go through them really quick. First of all, I wrote down some things that I was thinking throughout the 10-day process. Number one, food is a blessing, and it's also a curse. Food is good and it's bad. Food is a builder and a destroyer. Food creates pleasure, but it also can create pain, especially over time. Food gives life, and food takes it away. Food is the ultimate paradox in life. Now, here are some thoughts I had as I went through this. Food keeps us in a trance. Food blinds us and keeps us in this sort of slumber. Food makes you and me feel plump at times and often mundane or sluggish. Maybe you have felt that in your life. Food bogs you down. And then when you start eating, and I haven't eaten in 10 days, but it seems like in the past where I've tried to fast, the moment I cheat, the moment I start consuming food, then it's like jumping back on that hamster wheel and it's harder to get off. And so I'm going to have some thoughts throughout this video about food and your relationship to food and so forth. Now, one of the things that I learned about food and that draw or that acid, because when you get past 4 to 5 days, you don't even feel acid in your tummy anymore that's drawing you to eat food. I'm telling you. And I learned through the process that is called ghrelin. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Ghrelin is what makes us hungry, and it's a hormone, but after a period of time, that hormone settles down and almost goes away. And it's amazing. You'll see that as we go through this documentary. So it's really easy to go without food if you can get over the hump. That's the point. So one thought that I had was, I didn't hear it from anybody else, but one morning I woke up with this thought: eat less, live more. Eat less, live more. Autocracy, and I think I'm saying that right, probably not for all you doctors out there, here's one of the benefits of going on a long-term fast, is the process of removing dead cells and debris, and it even cleans out the brain. So there's a lot of benefits. And through this video, I share a lot of that research with you and so forth. So not only do you get a part of my life experience going through it, but you also get the education along the way. Part of my thinking as I went through this is it's difficult to do this halfway. It's difficult. Like if you're doing intermittent fasting, or maybe you fast once a month for a couple meals at a time, I'm sure there are a ton of health benefits for that. But unless you can get yourself to go 4 days and then beyond, will you ever experience the euphoria that a long-term water fast can have for you? And by the way, I started this off, and you're going to explain the story why as we get right into it. But I started it off as an 86-hour water fast, right? I saw a video from Dana White, and that got me triggered, and then I studied it, and I got excited about it, and then I just did it. But once I was past 4 days, I was feeling so good. Why wouldn't I continue it? So the process of eliminating debris and bad cells and so forth can get rid of those and regenerate in my body. Throughout this process, sure, my mind told me, wow, it would sure be nice to eat. But my body was not screaming for it. I'm telling you, it's amazing how the body works. So we're going to get into that as we get into this video. So a couple things I want to give you a heads up on. Number one, you're going to hear throughout this process that I did throw up. I threw up, and I'll explain why I threw up. It was like on the 5th or 6th day. Number two, I'll share with you the bodily process around going to the bathroom, specifically bowel movement. Oh boy, was I shocked. I'm telling you, I was shocked. And you're going to see why in a few minutes if you continue to watch. I share with you my vitals. I take my vitals right in front of you and give you a snapshot of what's happening to my body. And then I share with you the science behind long-term water fast, the pros and cons, the good, the bad, the ugly, and how your body reacts to it and so forth. So let's get started. And the first thing I will say, as a word of caution, I don't know what your health circumstances are like, but it would probably be wise. In fact, I encourage it to visit with your physician, your doctor, or what have you, to make sure that you do it properly. I did a lot of research. I didn't have any bodily functions that I was concerned about, and so it worked perfect for me. But for you, just be wise and include medical professionals if there's an ailment you have or something else. But I will say, by fasting, it's very possible that you could help reduce that ailment by doing this, okay? I'm going to start in the beginning. So we're going to go back to the first videos that I started recording 10 days ago. I will also include the resource videos that I learned some things from, not all of them, but like 3 or 4 of them that got me started on the path. So it's easy for you just to click and look at what I was researching so that you can go forward and get the education you need. So those are just a couple thoughts. Let's go ahead and get started with it, right? Let's get real, or let's not play. Here we go. Hey there, and welcome to the Unleash Your Greatness Within podcast. Today's message is a little bit different. I'm going to be a little personable with you. That is that I have decided to go on an 80-hour fast. And then I want to give you that experience with me as I talk through it and so forth. And I got to tell you, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I had heard about fasting. In fact, I have fasted my whole life, at least once a month. I'll go without 2 meals. And so it's kind of been a normal thing. But to go 80 hours, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And right now, I started at 8 a.m. this morning. It is 6 p.m. tonight. And you know what? I'm almost through the first 24 hours. I'll go to sleep tonight. I'll wake up. And you know what? I will have gone without food for 24 hours. And then I've got to duplicate that several times after that. And I want to just share with you how it all came about. You know, I was looking at my X feed and Dana White popped up. Yeah, UFC Dana White. And you know what? He was so passionate in what he was sharing. He was talking about doing an 80-hour fast. And I got kind of excited about it. It went through my mind. I thought about it. I then started searching people that have done it. I started going down that rabbit hole, and I got really excited about it. I went to Dana White's trainer or health guide or whatever, Gary. And I watched the interview with Gary on the Joe Rogan show. That was really informative. So make sure you check that out. And I just kind of dug deep and figured out what I need to do. But in the video that Dana White shared, I tell you what, he actually gives you the protocol. And so I'm just going to give you the protocol today. And then I'm going to pop back into the video every day, every 24 hours to tell you how I'm doing. Because right now, all I've had for today is what Dana White says you got to have electrolytes. So we've got that. I ordered this. It's the same brand that Dana White showed in his video. So it's called Ultima. And so I got the grape version. I've heard that's the best one. So, in one of the videos I saw. So there we go. I got that. I've been taking that throughout the day. And, also starting the second day, third day, and fourth day, you're going to take a bone broth. And, it's only about 50 calories, but it's 10 grams of protein for every cup you drink. And you can drink 2 cups per day. So that's all I'm going to be eating for 4 days, keeping my body healthy and lean and so forth. I got to be a lot more lean. Hopefully by the end of this, I'll be a lot leaner than I look right now, if you know what I mean. But I'm only, 12 hours, almost 12 hours into it. And yeah, I feel hungry. I want to eat, but I'm just going to be tough. I'm going to have discipline, and I'm going to be good. I'm going to push this all the way through. And so throughout the day, I did go ahead and buy a copper flask, if you will, because there's benefits of the energy that comes from that in your water and the purities that helps, I guess, the water purify. I don't know. But I just saw some videos on that. So I got a copper flask, and I'll be drinking all day long. I've been drinking a ton of water with a little bit of electrolytes. I went out and worked out for an hour at the gym. Okay, so here I am at the gym, sluggishly on the elliptical slider, whatever it's called. And I've just been sort of busy at the office and so forth. So I've just tried to keep myself really busy. But now I'm kind of feeling like I want to relax a little bit. So I'm going to chill, even though I have a business meeting tonight. So anyway, that's today, the first day of the 80-hour fast. I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. Well, this is day 2. I slept through the night. I wrestled and rolled through the night, moving around a lot. I think I fell asleep around 9:30 p.m. and I normally don't go to bed till about 11 p.m. So my body was just shutting down. I slept. And then I got up at 5:30. And then I hit 8 a.m. soon after that. So it's been 24 hours since I've had food. And right now it is 9:30 a.m. So this is where we're at. I'll just explain a little bit of how I feel. First of all, my mind is a little bit sluggish right now. I can tell my body is awake, is trying to figure out what's going on. There was a point when I first drank some water this morning that my stomach turned, like I wanted to throw up. But then I just laid down, I let it settle, and I was fine. I've been fine ever since. So here we go, another day. So the plan for today is, number 1, I'm going to continue to drink my electrolyte water. So we'll make sure we do that. Also later today, I'm going to test my ketones. This is a ketone stick. So I'll test it to see if I'm spilling ketones, which is ultimately what you want to happen on the second day. What else am I going to do? My daughter has a soccer game tonight. She made varsity as a freshman at a 4A school. So that's way exciting for her. So congratulations, Julia. Let's see, what else? When I'll just tell a quick story. When I was newly married, within the year of my marriage, and I've been married for 26 years to the best woman in the world, Danielle. I love her. Anyway, I I decided after reading a story of Tony Robbins, who I then soon after worked for a year. I had read a story somewhere, and you're going to have to fact check this, but I think I'm probably pretty accurate. On stories, I'm pretty accurate. Anyway, he had been asked to speak at the medical school of UCLA. Norman Cousins was there and so forth. And they were talking about, I don't know how it came up or how it came about, but they were talking about gangrene. And Tony got up in front of all these medical students and says, you can cure gangrene by fasting. And they kind of scoffed at him, and they thought, there's no way. And he says, you can. Now, I don't know where that knowledge that Tony had came from or anything, so you can look into all that. But here's what happened. They brought a gentleman in, or they didn't bring him in, or maybe they had someone at a hospital who had gangrene at the feet, and Tony encouraged him to fast. In fact, he fasted, and Tony did it with him for, I think the number was 29 days of fasting. You can go without food for that long, right? You can't go without water. You can't go around maybe that far without electrolytes and maybe some bone broth, which I'm going to do today, right? I get 2 cups of bone broth today, so I'm looking forward to that. I can take it at noon, and I can take it later in the evening at dinner time. So that's the plan on the bone broth. But Tony fasted with this patient for 29 days. And lo and behold, the gangrene was gone, and I don't know if he brought him into the medical school to present, or he was able to show pictures of how he had been healed and so forth. And lo and behold, he stunned the audience. Now, there's a lot of subtle things in there as well. We have the medical, academic medicine doctors, and then we have some of the natural health medicines. And I love those natural health. I think the more we can go back to our organic foods and waters and so forth, I think our body is strong enough to heal itself. And that's part of the purpose of doing this fast, right? I learned that Tony Robbins had done it for 29 days. And so in my first year of marriage, I think I went 5 days without food. And I don't really remember at that age, 23, 24 years old. I don't remember what it was like. So I'm going through this all over again, and I'm doing it more purposeful today. So my goal is just to be more healthy, to reset the cells in my body, to reset the lining of my stomach, to, right? All these, you can look it up later, but all these processes will happen through the process of long-term fasting. So that's why I said yesterday, I might go more than 4 days. I might go 5 days or 6 days, and we'll see. All right, I'm going to listen to my body. I'm going to feel my body. But here's what I believe is that my good cells will take over the bad cells. And I'm a healthy guy. But hey, what if I can do this just as a preventive measure to make sure that I stay at the peak of my body's health at 50 years old? Okay? So that's where I'm at today. Hey, listen, I'll jump back in tomorrow, tell you how I'm feeling, how today went. Maybe I'll jump in later today and tell you how today went. Right now, I could just tell my body is alive. I could tell my body's hungry, that it's trying to find where to find the fuel and the source. I can sort of tell. It's cloudy, but I can sort of feel. And sometime today, it's going to click where it's going to start going after the fat in my body to get that fuel. And that's what you want to happen. All right, so that is day 2. Okay, here we are. I just got back from the gym. I took a shower. And now it's time for me to have my first cup of, kettle and fire bone broth. So I'm going to have that. And I was supposed to take it at noon, but because of my workout, it's more like 2 o'clock. So we're going to take it now. 1 cup of this. And one thing I'm going to do, because one of the purposes of doing these long fasts is to heal and repair the internal organs. And so nobody's shared this with me. I haven't read this anywhere, so I'm doing this on my own logic. And that is, mistletoe is something that is known to clean the liver. And so I thought, well, I'm going off of minimal foods. I've taken a few vitamins. I'll show those later. But I also thought, while I'm taking the bone broth, I'll take 2 of these capsules, right? 2 of these capsules. I'm going to pour it out after I heat up the bone broth, because I don't want the sheathing around it or whatever that's called. And, hopefully that will, clean out my liver if it needs to be cleaned out. I don't even know. But it made me think, as I was driving home and thinking about this, when I was driving home from the gym, I was thinking, it's probably no different than what I'm going to do here. It's no different than putting that little fuel cleaner in your car, right? So it's going to be the same. I'm kind of thinking it might be the same thing. All right, here we go. Oh, so good. Ooh, it's hot. So refreshing. Oh my gosh. All right, we're gonna let that cool for just a little bit. I'll finish it. Anyway, this morning was a little bit rough as I could feel my body trying to transition. I got busy, had to do some work, and then I went to the post office, and then I went to the gym, and now the gym was a struggle, as I shared. But now I'm feeling pretty good, right? It's like my body has shifted. I almost get this thought right now that by tomorrow, I'm not going to want food at all. Like, I'll be satiated. So we're going to see. I don't know yet, but we'll see. So that's where we're at right now. A little bit later, we'll go to my daughter's soccer game. All right? See you later. Okay, so welcome back. Today is the 3rd day of my 80-hour, or I should probably correct it at this point. It's an 86-hour fast, okay? An oversight earlier on. So, and I might go longer. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. So I've got today that it's now 9 o'clock at night. So I've already gone through the whole day here today on my 3rd day, which I'll explain in just a second. And then I also have half of tomorrow, I believe. So I'll have to do some configuration to find out what's truly 86. But I might go all the way for a couple more days. We'll see. I'll let you know. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of what I've been doing. Obviously, I've been doing the bone broth twice a day. I've been doing the electrolytes, so that's really important. I've been doing the milk thistle, which helps clean out the liver. I don't know if I need it, but I just thought that would be helpful. And then I got some fundamental vitamins that I read somewhere. Can you take vitamins while you're fasting? And they said you could, but you got to make sure they are water soluble or they'll mess up the pH balance in your body. So ever since the pandemic, I've gotten really kind of knowledgeable around and focused on, hey, what are those trace minerals that my body needs, right? Building that soil. And for 3 years now, I've been building the soil in my body to make sure everything operates well. And so far it has. And so I'll just show you some of the vitamins that I've been taking. So I have vitamin C. So I take that. And I'll tell you a story about that in just a second. I take zinc. I take DHEA. Okay, you can look these up on your own later, what the benefits are. The pregnenolone, I think that's how you pronounce it. Take that. I take folate and vitamin B12. Gary says that we should be taking that on a normal, consistent basis. Many of these he talks about. I take a little bit of vitamin A. Gary also talks about selenium. And I take MK4, vitamin K2. I take that as well. Oh, and I got two more. I take TMG, which is really important. And I also take copper. So I take some copper. Some of these are core trace minerals that our bodies need. Now, I take these regularly, so I thought I would introduce them during the fast, knowing that my body, this is my logic, and it may not be right. My thought process was that as I'm fasting and my body's working through its own system, which I'm going to share in just a second, that it's absorbing those core nutrients that my body needs. And so that's kind of the thought process behind there. But what I did notice yesterday when I started to do it, I felt great afterwards. But today when I did it, the one thing I added different was zinc. And for some reason, I felt like for about 20 minutes, I wanted to throw up. So it just disrupted my pH balance or whatever was going on in my tummy. But after about 30 minutes, I was fine. I'm here 3 hours later and I'm got energy and I'm happy and so forth. So it's been fine. I just hope that it's doing its job. There was an old tape many years ago, a cassette tape called, and I don't remember the name of the doctor. It's called Dead Doctors Don't Lie. So look that up and you'll find the name of the doctor. That was an old cassette tape that I listened to as a teenager, and I was blown away by the concepts. Well, I've seen on Twitter or X, I've seen a bunch of videos of this doctor talking of recent. And one thing he shares, he's done, I think the number was, he's done 14,000 animal autopsies and 3,000 human autopsies. And what he has found every single time is that when someone or an animal dies, it's usually because of a deficiency in a core human mineral that the body needs, like copper, like selenium, like vitamin C. In fact, he uses the example of vitamin C of what happens if a person in the old days would get scurvy on the ships and so forth, 200, 300 years ago. They would eat a lot of oranges. Why? They figured out later on that it was the vitamin C. So if someone has scurvy, disease or sickness or whatever it is, that the sickness will go away, right? Scurvy will go away. So it's all about making sure that you get those core ingredients in your body so that all your organs and everything operate at an optimum level. So I do that, and I thought, hey, maybe it would work well with me doing it while I'm fasting. So I don't know if that's true or not. So I don't advise it for anyone. Again, I'm not a doctor, but maybe check into that and see if it's okay. I did read an article where they did say it was okay. Just make sure it's water soluble versus oil and so forth. So if it's all water soluble, it should be fine because the digestive system can dissolve it and so forth. So that's what I read. So what I thought I would do real quick is I'm going to take a screen grab of a portion of an interview where Gary Brecka, I've not said his last name up to this point, but his name is Gary Brecka. He is the coach or the health coach that helped Dana White, get healthy again and so forth, like the first video that I shared with you. And what I learned as I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Gary Brecka is that he said for 20 years, he would work for an insurance company where he would analyze medical records, and he would see the pattern of people that were sick or chronically ill or dying, and he would see what they were deficient in. And so what he said on that interview was that you should get tested, see what you're low in, your blood test, and there's also a genetic test. You should get tested, and then you should make sure that you, at the start, you should start taking vitamins and minerals that help impact those deficiencies. So you're operating at a higher level. Let me push these away. Now, what I wanted to share with you that I'm going to screen grab is where Gary describes what happens to your body step by step. It's only about 4 minutes, 5 minutes maybe, step by step of what's happening to your body when you do the water fast, when you do an 86-hour fast, because there's certain segments of the time that it benefits the body. And I thought that would be really important for you to understand what he says about it.
So let's kind of break down what happens in the human body when you engage in a short-term fasted period. So a lot of people are familiar with intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating, where you actually restrict the eating window. But what happens if you take that eating window entirely away? I did a guide to 3-day water fasting at theultimatehuman.com, where I go deeper into this subject. But on this podcast short, I want to make sure that you understand what happens every few hours as your body goes through a 3-day water fast. So from hours 0 to 12 after having your last meal, you're still digesting some of the food, and during this period, your insulin is still a little high. Remember, the higher the insulin is, the more resistant you are to insulin. You know, for longevity purposes, we want to be sensitive to insulin. The less insulin it takes to regulate our blood sugar, the longer our lifespan. So in hours 12 to 18, this is when the fat burning begins. Insulin starts to fall, and the body is beginning to enter a state of ketosis, where it's shifting energy states. It's shifting from burning sugars to beginning to burn fats. Between hours 18 and 24, ketosis is well underway, and a hormone called glucagon is rising. And why would glucagon rise? Because as this hormone rises, it's a glucoregulatory peptide hormone, and it counteracts the action of insulin by stimulating the liver to turn stored glucose into sugars. So this is called gluconeogenesis. Remember, we actually take sugar and we store it in our muscles in the form of glycogen. We store it in the liver in the form of glycogen, and we can tap into this reserve energy when our muscles need energy or when we need to put sugar back into the bloodstream. And this happens when we get into a fasted state. Now, between 24 and 48 hours, this is when the real magic begins. This process of autophagy, the body turning on itself to become more efficient at waste elimination, repair, detoxification, and cellular division. You're literally cleaning your body out at a cellular level. So autophagy begins during this stage, 24 to 48 hours, and it's often referred to as the brain cleansing part of a fast. People report incredible increases in mental clarity, energy, alertness. I mean, a lot of people even feel the urge to exercise or even feel very clear and cognizant. And autophagy is this process that keeps our cells in proper balance. And it takes old or damaged components in the cell and it recycles them. And then these recycled parts are turned into amino acids that are used for fuel to get us through this fasted period. Now, between hours 48 and 54, more magic begins to happen in the human body. Human growth hormone surges at this point. Remember, our pituitary gland, right here in the center of our brain, secretes HGH, or human growth hormone. And it does this to help us repair tissues. Not just muscle, but all kinds of tissues in the body have receptors for growth hormone, and this actually helps with the repair process, and it helps us better sustain prolonged periods of caloric restriction. So we can actually tap into our HGH reserve, and we can surge this hormone naturally by waiting until hours 48 to 54 for the body to begin to take major steps to save your life. This is also when inflammation is really beginning to tank. So inflammation is being reduced during the same period of time. Now, hours 54 to 72 is where insulin is increasing its sensitivity. Remember, we want to be sensitive to insulin, not resistant to insulin. So between hours 54 and 72, insulin is becoming more sensitive, and autophagy, this process of cellular turnover and regeneration, peaks. After 72 hours on a water fast, there's evidence that your own stem cells are starting to increase in number in blood circulation. Remember, your stem cells, which are the same age as the host, so they're as old as you are, they're held inside of your bone marrow. They're held inside of a lot of our long bones, in our hips, they're held in our femur, and they're released into the bloodstream. And when they enter the bloodstream, they hunt around for tissues that are damaged or inflamed. So after 72 hours, the evidence is conclusive that your stem cell levels begin to rise and circulate in your bloodstream, and your immune cells are becoming refreshed. So there's an entire myriad of benefits to intermittent fasting and water fasting.
Okay, I hope that helps. I hope it gives you a little bit of a vision of what you can expect if you go forward with doing a water fast. And again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a biologist and so forth. So, get counsel from your doctors if you think that's something you want to do. Do your research for sure and get professional help and so forth. In my case, I trusted Gary, I trusted Dana, and you know what? I've been fine ever since, and I assume everything that's supposed to be working is working fine. He does talk about clarity of mind at about 40 hours, I think he mentioned. And I don't know, I don't feel as I'm as sharp as I could be. So, we'll see, but I hope everything else is working. And because I didn't feel that sharpness and so forth, I think I might go maybe an extra day. So we'll see, right? You can go as long as 30 days, right? So maybe even more in some cases. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it so far. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey there, welcome back. Listen, today is the 4th day. It's 2 p.m. I think I can end my fast within about 3 hours. I think I'm within that window, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go longer. So I'll keep you updated on that. Anyway, here's what I noticed this morning. I woke up refreshed. I felt like I was on top of the mountain, in charge of the world. I just felt great. So then about 11 a.m., I went to work out, and then it became tough, right? So I just noticed, first of all, before I even left the house, when I ran upstairs, I noticed that my nerves were shooting in my arm. So what I was thinking was, hey, those T cells or those, different good cells are starting to repair maybe some nerve damage. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. But I feel it like, and then I'll actually show you my blood pressure and so forth has gone down and is now in a healthier level and so forth. I'll show that. So that's pretty cool. And then I went to work out and I sweated profusely. Oh, and it was such a struggle, but I did the elliptical, I did the weights. I was there for an hour and 15 minutes. And now I've come home to go to a meeting. And, but all in all, things are great. I feel good. I'm not super hungry. So just keep drinking the water and the electrolytes and everything else. Okay, I thought I would just give you an update on my 4th day of no food. I could have stopped my fasting a few hours ago based on the 86 hours, but I've decided to go a whole nother day. So it's 9:30 at night and I don't really feel hungry. I haven't felt really hungry all day. It's kind of like, to be realistic, it's kind of like just a subtle hint of, hey, maybe we're getting close to time to eat, kind of that thing, but not overwhelming. So then you just tell your brain, hey, no, just be patient, keep yourself busy, you'll get through this, it'll be fine. So I'm feeling like things are going well, so I'm going to go another day, and we'll see if I go another day after that. So I'm just kind of playing it by ear, and hope you enjoy the message. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the Unleash Your Greatness Within podcast or followed me on YouTube, or even gone to my website, greatnesswithin.com. Hey, I invite you to get familiar with the Greatness Within community and information and so forth. Okay, I wish you the best. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey there, can you believe it? Today is the 5th day of not eating any food. I tell you what, all I've eaten were the electrolytes and a little bit of the bone broth, and that is it. In fact, I did want to point out that I went online and I purchased these little tiny packets which have different flavors of electrolytes. And it's still from the same company as this that I originally showed you. So I have these now, and I actually like them. I don't know if I've heard from other people that grape is the best. I don't think so. Pomegranate, orange, lemon are also good. So listen, I've been taking those and I really enjoy those. So they taste really good. And I have my daughter try one is a big soccer player who takes a lot of that stuff anyway for her athletic stuff. And I had my wife try it, who is very particular about the food she puts in her body and so forth. And they both thought it tasted really good. So, and this morning it happened to be pomegranate. So, just so you know, you can order a packet of little packets if you want as well and try different flavors. That might be beneficial. The other thing I purchased was a hydrogen water device that changes, I guess, the structure of the water. And it's got several more minutes on it. But supposedly hydrogen water helps the nutrients get in the cells better and so forth. And as you're going through this fast, it makes it a little bit better. You don't notice a big difference of the taste. You can see bubbles in here, but it's not bubbly when you drink it. So it's like plain water. But supposedly it has a lot of health benefits. So I've been doing that. But today, I just got back from church and I thought I would just share a couple thoughts with you that stood out to me as it's relative to a little bit of this fast, but also, just a good reminder, right? There's good and evil in this world. And I just thought I would share a couple thoughts, from today. There was a couple speakers that talked about a couple things in today's lesson. And one of them said, he quoted a religious leader named Gordon B. Hinckley. He said, when life gets too hard, then stand, keep going, right? But then kneel. So let me say that again. When life gets too hard, then stand and then kneel. Ask for help. And I've done that through this process. It reminded me as I was sitting there listening to these speakers today, I couldn't help but think about Matthew 4 when Jesus fasts the 40 days. And it says here in verse 1 of Matthew in the Bible, it says, then was Jesus led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And verse 2, and when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterwards hungered, right? I guess I can relate a little bit to that. Not much at this point. 40 days would be a lot different than 5 days at this point. And verse 3, and when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread. Verse 4, but he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. One thing I'm learning through this fast, to keep it real, is maybe we don't always need 3 meals a day. What I'm learning through this fast is if you can get past the second day, maybe a little bit into the third day, wow, it just feels, I feel, as I sit here right now, I don't have a strong hunger for food. Sure, I go through cycles. Last night, as we were driving back from the meeting I was at last night, I felt a little bit hungry and I was a little bit hangry, if you will. So maybe I was a little bit rough in my tone. But you know what? Those cycles only last for about 45 minutes and then your body settles down. No different than when I woke up this morning and I drank a little bit of water. I felt like in my tummy, it was wrestling a little bit and I got the feeling like I might want to throw up, but I didn't throw up. It was just, I don't know. It was just, and 5 minutes later it was gone. And up to this point right now, I'm feeling really great. So that's that. The other thing that was brought up today was Proverbs 20:12. And this is what it says. the scriptures invite us to have ears that hear and eyes that see. And so I was thinking about that today. And then the speaker, when she mentioned that, she then rolled into this example. She crumbled up a dollar bill and she said, imagine if I had thrown this on the ground and you drove over it and I offered the dollar bill to you. Would you still take it? And the answer was, of course, right? Because the dollar bill, even though it was flattened out and run over, still has the same value. So let's take it up to $20. Let's say that I have a $20 bill that I pulled out my gum. This is what she said. And I put it in the dollar bill. And then I had to wipe my nose. So I wiped my nose with the $20 bill. And then I thought maybe I should clean the dollar bill. So I washed it in the toilet, of all things, right? Is what she said. Clean it in the toilet. Would you still want the $20 bill? And sure, there were mixed emotions. Some were saying, no, maybe in that context, I would not want it. But did the value change on that dollar or $20 bill? And the answer is no. And that's a good reminder to me as we teach self-esteem and we teach self-acceptance and we teach all these things in the business world and so forth, that understand that you have individual worth. And in fact, I titled it, The Worth of a Soul, right? The worth of that dollar or that $20 doesn't change even if it's dirty, even though it's made mistakes. We can all improve. We can all repent. We can all become better and more, quote unquote, Christ-like. So sorry if I'm getting a little bit spiritual on you today, but just thought I would throw this in here as I was thinking about this as I went to church today. And then one of the other speakers ended with this quote from the Book of Mormon, which is a second testimony of Jesus Christ. And it testifies all throughout, in case you don't know, it testifies all throughout the Book of Mormon about God and Jesus Christ specifically, he being our Savior and our Redeemer. And in the Book of Mormon, it says this, I do not boast in my own strength, nor in my own wisdom, but behold, my joy is full, yea, my heart is brim. Ooh, my water just ended. Maybe I should have let's have a little drink of it. Refreshing. Okay, I'll finish this after the video. I'll start over. And this is in the Book of Mormon, but it testifies of God and Jesus. I do not boast in my own strength, nor in my own wisdom, but behold, my joy is full, yea, my heart is brim with joy, and I will rejoice in my God. Yea, I know that I am nothing. As to my strength, I am weak. Therefore, I will not boast of myself, but I will boast of my God. For in his strength, I can do all things. Yea, behold, many mighty miracles have wrought in this land, for which we praise his name forever. I love that. Listen, in this world of fighting between good and evil and so forth, and all the drama around us and so forth, through this process of fasting, I have felt more sensitive to the Spirit, or more sensitive to holier things. And so I'm just thankful for my knowledge of the Lord, and by keeping his commandments, there's safety in the soul and safety in this life and happiness in this life. So I just want to share that with you today. Listen, we'll see. Listen, I feel really good. I think I'm going to push it into a 6th day. So let's see how that goes. Thanks for watching. If you have watched all the way up to this point, hey, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment, right? Maybe a thumbs up or a like or something. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, it's still the 5th day, and it's about 8:30 at night, and I'm just telling you, I am feeling great. I went to a little dinner gathering where they were having lasagna and so forth. I didn't even have an urge to eat any of it. I didn't eat any. I just had my electrolyte water, and that was it, and I was totally fine. I've reached this plateau now where my body is in a high ketone state, so I test that, and I'm burning a lot of ketones. I think that's what it's called. And then I'm also testing my blood, which I'm going to do right here for you. So just so you can know, we'll see what the number comes out to be. Here's the little device right here. Got it all set up. So I'm going to prick my finger. I need to put on a little needle though. I should probably use my glasses if I'm going to use a needle here. So we're going to push that in. Got it. Put the top back on. Slide that back. And then I'm going to just kind of push that blood out a little bit. I'm just going to push it out, push it out, push it out, push it out. And then I'm going to just come in here. I waited too long. Here, let me pull this out and put it back in. Wakes it up, wakes the machine up. All right, here we go. So if you know anything about blood sugar and so forth, this is what my reading just came out to after checking myself. So what does that say, 65? Yep, 65. So there we go. Hopefully with the shadow or the shine, you can see it. 65. So that's pretty low in terms of your blood sugar. Obviously, I'm not eating anything, so it's going to be low. One thing you should know as well is that I guess normal blood sugar, I don't know this for a fact, my mother-in-law was telling me, should be somewhere around 90 to 120. And so obviously I am really low. And you know what else I'm going to show you is I went into the doctor because I cut my finger 3 weeks ago with a chainsaw. I'm giving you a lot of personal information here, but I cut my finger and I went in just to make sure I bandaged it properly and so forth. It just went enough that it was below the skin. That was all, nothing hugely major. And when I went in, they tested my blood pressure and they said, hey, you normally have good blood pressure, but it seems a little high, which could be a little bit of shock with the cut or something. And they acknowledged that. But this was my reading when I was in the hospital 3 weeks ago. Now, look at what my reading is as of today. Being on this fast, my blood pressure has gotten into an optimum place. So just thought I would share that with you. Just if any of you are analytical and want to look into some of the bodily functions and results and so forth, that's how we roll. All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey there. So this is the 6th day. I have not eaten. It's nighttime. My brothers and I, we went to watch what, Mike?
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. What'd you think of that movie, guys?
It's awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, go check it out if you like a little bit of history and so forth. So anyway, here we go for another day.
Okay, so I just got home from the movie with my 2 brothers. I actually have 7 brothers. In my family growing up, there were 7 boys and 1 girl. And many people don't know this, but in 1986, when Ronald Reagan was the president, I was 12 years old, and our family was picked out of millions of families to represent the United States as one of the quote unquote great American families, to receive the Great American Family Award. So here's a picture of us with Nancy Reagan, obviously. And so that was a great treat that we took some pride into and so forth. Not that our family was perfect or anything of that nature, just it was neat to be there. I remember they had a dinner for us and six other families. There was, I think, 7 total or 6 total. And they gave us raw slices of salmon. And I remember never having that before. And it scared me as a 12-year-old. I asked my mom, do I really have to eat this? She goes, no, just eat everything else on your plate though. And so that was kind of interesting. And the other thing that was really interesting, and I actually think I have it in my office. I'll find it and I'll pause the video and I'll come back. But I have toilet paper from the White House. And it has a gold seal on it. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Okay, check this out. Let me take it out of the bag I've had it in all these years. But look at this toilet paper. It's got the gold seal on it. But I remember folding it up and putting it in my suit pocket that I was wearing that day and kept it after all these years. So just fun little trivia things, I guess. Okay, so today is the end of my 6th day. It's 10 o'clock at night right now. And I will tell you that it was an interesting day. So I woke up at 3:30 in the morning this morning, and I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I was wide awake. I'm never awake at that hour. No way. And so I laid there for a little bit, and I think I actually scrolled on Twitter and some other things. Anyway, and then I finally got up, and I thought, okay, I'm going to make breakfast for my daughter, who gets up at 4:30. So 4:30, around 4:45. And I made breakfast for her. And then I stayed up and just got work done. And I got a lot of my work done by 9 a.m. this morning. I just was so ahead of everything, and I was able to get extra stuff in that I needed to get handled today. And I just felt full of energy. And all day long, I forget what Gary Brecka calls it, but once you get past 4 days, you get in this natural high. I don't know what it is. It's just, you have energy. You don't need a lot of sleep. You obviously don't need food. I don't have any cravings. I mean, I'm around food. I was around food tonight. I was around food earlier today. Had no cravings for it. Didn't even interest me, right? I had a water in hand and I would just sip on that. So if you can here's my belief. If you can get past 2.5 days of the hunger pains and burning out the sugar and everything else, I think you get to 3rd day, 4th day and beyond, especially after 4 days, it's coasting time. It's easy. I mean, I'm almost thinking, do I ever need to eat again? So I'm keeping monitors of my blood and my ketones and my blood pressure. I'm still doing all that stuff to make sure I'm staying healthy. I've got my water. So this is going to go off in just a few minutes, and I'll drink it if I still am going. But you know what? Here's the deal. I'm going to go another day. I mean, why wouldn't I? I feel great. I've lost, 9 pounds. 9 pounds. So, and I'm not doing it for losing weight. That's not my purpose. My purpose is going back to Gary Brecka with the T cells leaching out of the bones and circling my body to heal any areas that need improvement. Or he sort of talked about it, but other videos have talked about it more. And in fact, the first video I showed you with Dana White, I think he mentioned it, is within those later hours, getting up to 86 hours, the good cells are killing off all the zombie cells or those potential cancer cells and so forth. So my thought, and ever since I started this, I've watched probably 9 or 10 different videos of people that have fasted for 29 days. One person fasted for 40 days. So listen, my thought is, if you've thought about doing this, you should. I'm telling you, you should. You just got to have the discipline to get through 2 days, and then it'll start to get easier. And by the fourth day, it's going to get really easy. Okay. That's my experience. And, I hope you're liking this video. All right. Okay. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay. It's the 7th day of fasting. And let me tell you, it's 11 o'clock at night. We just got back from my daughter's soccer game. They won 2-0. It was a great game, and Julia played really well. So that was nice. And I just thought I would jump in the studio here and just give you a little quick update. So all today, is there anything that stood out? Nothing. I have not had a desire to eat all day. There's not been any hunger pains or nothing. I feel like I have tons of energy. Everything seems to be going smooth. So I'm going to go into another day. We're going to go into 8 days and see how I do then, right? And we're just going to keep the ball rolling, and keep in mind that I am checking my blood sugar. Not that I really know what to look for. Checking my ketones and checking my blood pressure. Everything seems to be going well. Oh yeah, this morning I went to have my labs done. So I do that a couple times a year, and it just so happened I got it scheduled. I said, hey, is there any way you can get me in today while I'm fasting? I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to have my blood drawn just to do checkups and stuff while I'm fasting? I wonder what those numbers are going to look like. They'll probably look like I'm immortal. No, just kidding. Anyway, I did that this morning, and then got a lot of work done and so forth. So that's where we're at. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm ready to go to bed, and I'll probably be rolling around in my bed about 4 a.m. in the morning, which is not normal for me. But with not eating, I don't need as much sleep. I feel like I have a lot of energy. And I would just remind you that if you're going to do something like this and go beyond the 4 days especially, make sure you do your research and make sure you consult with your physician or whatever. Just be wise about it. Okay, that's my suggestion. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. It's the 8th day of not eating any food. And let me tell you something. I feel great. In fact, I'm up really early. At 4 a.m., I woke up. I started wrestling around. My body was awake. I opened up my iPad. I did a little bit of, while I was laying in bed, seeing if I needed to go back to sleep or not. I did some note taking and some thoughts on a lesson that I need to give here in a few days. And that came out smooth. And then by 5 a.m., I got out of bed and came to the office and thought I would make this video for you. So that's where we're at today. You can, I don't know, I'm going to show the source material as a screenshot at the end of this to verify all these videos, when they were taken and so forth, day by day by day. And one thing you'll see is today, and you won't be able to tell which day it is, I don't think, from the screenshot, but on the 8th day, I'm doing this video about 5:30 in the morning. So that's what's going on. So here's what I thought I would do for the fun of it. Number one, I thought I would do my normal regimen of taking my vitamins, and I'll show you what that looks like. So the first thing I do is I take some magnesium. So I'm going to put on my glasses, some magnesium. And then what I'm going to do after I take my vitamins, I'm going to do my blood pressure for you. Okay, there we go. That's that. And then I put in some silver bullets, some silver, I don't know what it's actually called. I don't know, it's silver, something silver that's healthy. It's a trace mineral for your body. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in. I'm going to put some iodine in. We as humans today are low typically on iodine, so I do that every day. So I'll put that in there. And I put in lion's mane. I don't know if you've heard of that. As you get older, your mind changes a little bit. I want to keep it healthy. And the lion's mane is made up of mushrooms, and it's supposed to strengthen the brain. So I do a little bit of that every day. Ooh, we're getting low. Okay, that's that. So I'll put those aside, and then I will, right? Got to do that. All right, so we're gonna take vitamin D. We're gonna take copper. That's a trace mineral as well. We're going to take vitamin A. Actually, I'll wait on the vitamin A. I'm going to do my morning stuff first. Some amino acids. Some milk thistle, right? That's for the liver. All right, so I'll just start with that. All right, then I'm going to, okay, I did that. I'm going to take my vitamin C. Oops, take 3 of those. It's not a problem to go heavy on the vitamin C. There's a lot of research on that. I'm going to take my TMG. It's good for the blood. Okay, did that. Let's see, what else do I have here? Okay, folate, B12, really important. Brecka, Gary Brecka talks about that typically we're low in that. Gary Brecka also talks about selenium, but I've been doing this for 4 years, even before I knew who Gary Brecka was, so this is all pretty typical for me. DHEA, my doctor says that's really important to take. So I have a health doctor who is kind of an anti-aging doctor, and I love his help. Okay, actually, we will go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and take the others. Okay, this is going to be pregnenolone. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. All right. Vitamin A, just need 1 of those, and vitamin K12 and MK7. 1 of those. Okay, let me stir this again. All right, I've taken all my vitamins. Let me finish drinking this. I don't know why it's discolored down here, but oh well. I feel good. All right. Now I'm going to take my little blood pressure. We're going to see how I am. I do feel like my heartbeat is a little bit higher in its speed. And I think, and I don't know if this is true, but I think that's because I'm in a ketone state where my body is eating the fat that's on my body right now. I don't know. So all right. Here you go. You can listen to it. So here I am. I got to keep my arm down though.
Attention, please. Please keep silent and relax. Keep the cuff at heart level. Start measurement now. measurement over. Your systolic blood pressure is 118 millimeter of mercury pillar. Your diastolic blood pressure is 69 millimeter of mercury pillar. Your heart rate is 82 beats per minute. According to the World Health Organization standards, the measurement result is normal. Thanks for using. Wishing you good health.
Wishing you good health. Okay, so 118 over 69 with 82 heartbeat. Okay, on the heartbeat, I think that's true. My body's working on its own. It doesn't have the crutch of food right now, so that's probably normal. It's a little bit higher than it's been in the last few days, so 118 over 69, but let me tell you, that is totally within comfortable level, so that's not a problem. Just a little higher this morning, and I'm not sure if it's how, if the system is working accurately or not. So anyway, that's how that goes, and that's what I do every day, just to make sure that I'm staying healthy and strong and being mindful of what I'm doing. And I know that this goes against the grain for a lot of people. But if you watch this far in the video, you probably part of you understands this and sees the value in it, or you wouldn't be watching it this long. So here's one thought that came to my mind this morning. Eat less, live more. Eat less, live more. All right, I wish you the best. Maybe I'll see you later today. If not, I'll see you tomorrow on the 9th day. But we'll see where we're at. All right, see you later. Okay, today is the 9th day of fasting, this water fast, right? That was supposed to be 86 hours, and then it just continued to go. Why? Because I feel so good. I don't feel like eating. This is unbelievable. So, hey, this is all I want to do is give you an update this morning. It's about noon this morning. I was just on the Patrick Snow podcast. Patrick Snow helps people get their books published and so forth. And he asked me to share my story, which I often don't get to do because I'm always interviewing other people. So I had the pleasure of sharing more of my story, my philosophies, and so forth. So I just got done with that. I think it was over an hour. I haven't looked at the time. So I just came off that interview, and I just wanted to give you an update today that I'm feeling great. My vitals are good. I did my blood pressure this morning, looking good. Everything seems to be going really well. And so we're just going to continue to rock and roll. I'll let you know how things go. All right, see you later. Okay, here's the deal. It's the 9th day without food, and I thought, hey, I already went to the gym today earlier, and I have so much energy that I thought I'll go out for a run. Now, I'm only going to do about a mile. That's about it. But here, I'll give you an idea of what it looks like. So here, and then up the hill. Anyway, man, I just feel it. And then in about an hour and a half from now, we go to my daughter's soccer game, Julia's soccer game. Woo! It's awesome. Anyway, I feel great. Maybe I'll talk to you later. If not, I'll see you tomorrow morning. All right. Hey, get out there and unleash your own greatness within. Defy the odds. All right. Bye-bye. In Washington, we have a lot of hills. Woo! So I'm just going up a steep hill. And there's no sidewalks. Annoying. All right, so here I am again. I just got back from my short run. I was pushing it up that hill. I've been back for about 15 minutes. And now it's that time of the day before I take a shower and go to my daughter's soccer game. I got to do the second dose of bone broth. So here we go. Oh, so good. And I put a little bit of Celtic, I think it's Celtic salt in it because that is one of the healthier salts you can use. It has a lot of minerals in there that are natural. Better than pink Himalaya salt, and of course, iodized salt. So don't be using iodized salt anymore, right? Celtic salt is really good for you. All right. Okay, it's a new morning, and today is the 10th day of fasting. I've not eaten any food other than the electrolytes and 2 cups of bone broth per day. That's it. So in today's message, it's the bad and the ugly conversation around going bathroom. Okay? So I want to discuss this openly because nobody that I saw shared these details when I studied how to do this and so forth. And I think you should be aware of it so you don't make a mistake. Okay? So I'm going to talk about going bathroom, going bowel movement, and if that makes you gross or if that sicks you out, I'm going to put a blank on the screen right now for about 10 seconds so you have time to either skip the video, pause the video, forward it, or whatever, okay? Okay, here we go. All right. Listen, one thing I did not know is that by the second or third day, my digestive system started to change, and by the 4th day, no, it had to have been by the 3rd day, I noticed that my bowel movement, my poo, if you will, this sounds weird that I'm sharing this with you, but I want to be real with you so you know what you're getting yourself into. By the 3rd day, I noticed the color of my poo was yellow. I thought that was strange. Now, by the 3rd day, it's still cleaning out all your digestive, whatever's in your digestive. It's probably detoxifying you and so forth. So, elements are coming out with it, but it's yellow. Hey, I just wanted to jump in here real quick. There's a part while we're in this section talking about going bathroom and bowel movement and so forth that I thought was really important to share with you so you have a heads up. And that is this. Somewhere between day 2 and day 3, your bowel movement turns really dark, like almost black. And so why is that? I did some research, and it really has to do with your body detoxifying itself, right? The body is starting to shed and get rid of the debris, especially the caked on food and stuff that you've eaten over, it could be a couple years, that are caked on the walls of your intestines and in your stomach lining. So don't be concerned about that. That's just part of the process, and you're on track when that happens. And then the rest of this message is true regarding the fluids that come out after this process, okay? So just know that about day 2 and day 3, your bowel movement's going to go a little bit dark, a lot darker and almost black, and you're going to wonder why is that, but it's all part of the process. All right, continue watching. At least the liquid part is yellow. But when you get to the 4th day, the 5th day, the 6th day, the 7th day, guess what? It seems like you're peeing out your bottom. Okay? I'm trying to be as careful and as respectful as possible. And it's yellow. So you get probably 3 times a day, you discrete yellow fluid with maybe a little bit of particles in there. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's fat that's being burned or just it's continually cleaning the walls of my inside. But it's primarily, and it's only usually about maybe a cup's worth of fluid, maybe at the most. Maybe it's not much. It's not like you go for long. It's real quick, but it comes out yellow in the toilet. And I was curious about that. So I started to study it, and I got some good answers. Here's what's going on with your body. So your liver produces bile, and that bile is what breaks down the food in your digestive system. But when there's no food over time in your digestive system, The liver is still operating. It's still producing that bile, but that bile has to leave the body. So the bile comes out in your bottom, and it was weird at first. So I'll just be a little bit more detailed. I was laying in bed and I felt like I needed to pass gas, and I was laying on my side, and I noticed that when I passed gas, I quickly stopped it, but for a moment there, I felt liquid on my leg or between my cheeks. Sorry, this is weird, right? Between my cheeks. And the liquid, I was able to catch it in time to get to the bathroom, use the bidet, clean myself up, and then go back to bed and change my clothes and so forth. So you want to be careful somewhere around the second day or the third day and the fourth day. Be careful when you pass gas or something, because it may not be gas. It may be just clear fluid that wants to come out, bile that wants to come out. So listen, today's the 10th day and I feel great. I feel energized. I got up early this morning and helped teach a class this morning. And so everything's going great. I feel fine. I feel healthy. I monitor myself. I take my vitamins. I'm doing everything I should be doing to stay healthy, because I'm not trying to be unhealthy. I'm trying to strengthen my body. I'm exercising every day. I actually went for a run in addition to working out at the gym yesterday. So all is good, right? But just know that your body's going to go through some changes that you shouldn't think is weird, okay? It's just your body doing its thing. Your liver is working fine. It's going to want to excrete that production of bile, and that's what it's doing when it goes into the toilet, yellow, and sometimes it sprays into the toilet. It's weird. So that was a new experience for me. So with that said, if you watched it, I hope it was meaningful to you and is preparatory so that early on, if you choose to do this, you don't make a mistake. Okay? I wish you the best. Maybe I'll see you later today. Today is the 10th day of fasting. All right.
Okay, I'm at the gym and it's, what time is it? 8 o'clock at night on the 10th day. And listen, I've decided earlier today that tomorrow morning, on the 11th day, I will end the fast and make it a 10-day fast. So I'll be doing another video later, but I just want to let you know I'm still exercising. I'm going to go for 45 minutes. I've already been on for a few minutes. Here, let me show you. Ooh, tell you, I feel so great. I don't feel like I need to end my fast. I just think when my family said, I think you've gotten the health benefits out of it, maybe it's time to start introducing some food back in. But let me tell you, I feel so good. I wake up early. I don't feel groggy. I'm awake when I wake up. I go all throughout the day with tons of energy without any food in me. I guess the only food I have is the fat that's on me. And so I'll let you know when I do probably my last film tomorrow morning. I'll let you know how much weight I have lost. Anyway, okay, this is my typical workout. And I don't know what you call this machine. It's not the normal elliptical machine. It's more of a slider. So I typically go 45 minutes and I burn about 800 calories. So I'll show you. Right? So that's how it rolls. And you know what? I got energy to burn still. So I'm gonna go work out, which I typically do. And I'll show you a little bit of that here, okay? All right, just a second. Okay, so I woke up. Today is the 11th day, which makes it a full 10-day fast. And I've decided to end the fast today. I'm not in a rush to do it because I feel so good. I just don't know what the health benefits are for me to continue fasting, right? Because I'm not doing it to lose weight. So I'm going to go to the gym, get an early workout in, and then I'm going to go home and I did some research on the best way to introduce food back into my system. And you want to do food that's light and easily digestible. And so I'll show you that later because that might be helpful to you. So I'm going to make a little, with the bone broth, I'm actually going to make a little soup, and I'll just start with that and we'll see how we go. So anyway, off to the gym. Okay, in my research, I discovered that you have to eat things that are easily digestible. And so I thought about a soup, and I thought about using the bone broth because it has a lot of protein. But then, hey, what vegetables can I throw into that are kind of hearty in nature? But you can't really have it hearty because you've got to be able to soften it so it just can digest easier. In fact, in my research, you want to cut all the vegetables up really small so that it gets evenly cooked. So here's what I came up with. And by the way, these vegetables have a lot of vitamins in them, like a vitamin D, A, C, and potassium and selenium and so forth. And I did research on every one of these. And I thought, hey, these would be great additions in the soup that I'm going to make that I'll probably eat over the next 2 days. And I'm going to start with 1 cup. So here's what I decided. Number 1 is cabbage, right? That's important. Helps in the flora aspect and so forth. I do like mushrooms, so I did mushrooms. This has a lot of ingredients in it. I didn't know that until I researched it. One of them is selenium, so that's really good. I love Chinese food, Asian food, so forth. Bok choy, right? Bok choy I thought would be good to have. And then zucchini. How about zucchini? Now, with each of these vegetables, I like to go organic, especially post this fast. I want to be as organic as possible, less pesticides and so forth. Well, the way you determine whether something is truly organic or not is the sticker that's on it. If it starts with a 9, that means it's organic. If it starts with a 4, that means it's not organic, okay? So zucchini is a great source as well. Also carrots, I thought that'd be good, even though I got to cut them kind of small, but hey, I like carrots, so that'll be good. And then something's really healthy for the body is celery. So we've got celery there too. So I imagine as I cut these vegetables down really small, I'll have to let it simmer in the broth for quite a while to help it soften. And then I'll just have 1 cup and I'll let you know what happens next. Okay, so this is what it looks like before I put in the bok choy. And I'd rather have my bok choy full length. I like it that way, but just to make it easy on my intestines, I chopped them in smaller pieces. All right, so I changed the pan that I was using, obviously, because I was running. It's so hearty. I was running out of, I mean, look at this. It's gonna be so good when I eat it. And the protein in this, because of the bone broth, is high. 1 can or 1 box of 19 grams, the other of whatever the total is. Let's see. And I just remind you, when I do eat it, and it looks like I might be going an 11th day on the fast, because I realized in an hour from now, I have to go to a meeting. And the last thing I want to do is have my bowels upset or going diarrhea or something while I'm at this meeting. So I think I'm going to wait to eat this tomorrow. You say, well, why can't you have it right before you go to bed then when you get back from your meeting? That's what my wife asked. And I said, well, the last thing I want to do is have a problem in bed. So I'll just wait till tomorrow morning. All right, let's let this simmer. Okay, it is now the 11th day, and it's time for me to eat the soup I made yesterday, and I'm so looking forward to it. My family has eaten a bunch of it. Now it's my turn. So here we go. But a couple things real quick. Just one of the things I learned through this process was ghrelin, which is a hormone that I didn't realize existed. I realized it through the experience of not even wanting to eat, as I shared throughout many of the videos. But I learned it's the hormone that kind of settles down or shuts down when you go without food for a period of time. It must be a survival mechanism or something. And that's why you have to go 3 to 4 days before you cause that hormone to stop producing. Okay, so the key is you can't just fast for a day or 2 days. It's got to be 3 or 4, and then beyond that, it gets really easy. So I hope you've learned that through this process. But here we are. I've got my, I don't know what you call this, a copper flask or a copper bottle, whatever, my water. And I have a small bowl and a spoon. So here we go. Let's do this. Let's see what happens. All right. You can see that right there. It's good. Make sure I get some juices with it here. Here we go. Take a little bite first. Food. Ooh, that tastes so good. You know what? I'm gonna put a little bit of white pepper on it. Well, I don't know if white pepper is a good idea, but I'm gonna put a little bit of Celtic salt on it. Give it a little bit more flavor. All right, here we go. Do I feel anything? It feels warm in the tummy.
feel normal. I'll let you know 2 hours from now if anything changes. Okay, I'm gonna drink the juices because that's where the protein is and my body wants the protein for sure because of all the exercise I've been doing. I can't believe it's been 11 days since I've eaten food. Wow, that tastes so good. Maybe my taste buds are even more sensitive through this. So, okay, I don't feel anything in the tummy in terms of eruptions or anything like that. Seems like my body is accepting it. Whew. So here's my plan. I'm gonna wait 2 hours, see what happens. I'll let you know, and then I'll have another bowl because I want more. But I'm gonna wait 2 hours so I don't upset my digestive system or I don't shock it too much. So we're just gonna take it easy. All right, I hope that helps. I'll talk to you later. Okay, it's the 13th day, and yesterday was the first day. You saw me just a second ago eat food. I had that little soup broth I made. Oh boy, did that taste good. I put a little bit of white pepper in it, a little bit of salt. Ooh, it was hearty, not perfectly hearty, not like a steak or something, but it felt good going in. But here's what happened next. Over the course of about 4 hours, I started feeling my stomach not turn. I wasn't upset. Just, I could tell it was digesting. I could tell it was working on things. And I ended up going bathroom probably 5 times yesterday. It's almost as though it went right through me. And then I woke up this morning and had to go again. So I can tell my body is adjusting. Here's what I noticed, so be prepared for this. That when you start taking food back in, and I had to do some research yesterday because I wasn't sure why, I felt kind of sluggish. I sort of wanted to just sit and watch football. I wanted to check out a little bit of the news. I was just sort of chill, like overly chill. And that's not like me. So I thought, what is that? And so in my research, I learned that as your body is readjusting to the carbohydrates, and adjusting to different chemicals and needed chemicals like ghrelin and so forth, that is, and ghrelin, as you know, I've told you before, is the hormone that makes us feel hungry. And if you get past the 4th day, you don't feel hungry anymore. It's unbelievable. I was around food the whole week and a half. No desire to eat the food. The ghrelin was low. It was as though I was full all the time. So keep that in mind. If you give up on the 2nd day, or if you give up on the 3rd day, hey, you're giving up on the 10-yard line, if you know what I mean. Because, hey, you're just right over the hump and boom, you're scot-free. You're sort of in this euphoria. So make it all the way to the 4th day and beyond, okay? Okay. So I was kind of sluggish and so forth. And so that was from about, I think I ate around noon. And I seemed to be sluggish all the way up to about 7 p.m. At 7 p.m., all of a sudden my normal energy started to come back. And that's that. And then when I slept last night, I did wake up at 3:30 in the morning, sort of wide awake. So just know that there might be some sleeping issues there for a little bit. But then I went right back to sleep and I slept fine. So, and I feel really healthy and energetic today. So that's what happened yesterday. The food tastes great and everything else. I will be making another soup today, similar to the one yesterday, so that I slowly introduce these things. And then maybe I might introduce small pieces of chicken or fish. I did have yesterday, by the way, I wanted something a little bit more hearty that was protein. So I boiled some eggs and I had a boiled egg. That made me feel, I didn't feel bad at all. I felt great. So I had that boiled egg and that was really tasty. I did not have salt on it. I felt like I had enough salt with the electrolytes and also with the broth. I didn't need to put extra salt on the egg. So trying to be thoughtful around that. So that was my experience of eating and what you can expect going forward. Now, for a couple thoughts that I've had. Number one, I've always told my kids that you'll eat better if you eat God's food. And so I would always say, compared to processed foods, right? Foods that grow out of the ground, the natural fruits and vegetables and so forth. I always call them God's food. Because it's a separator. It's the natural foods. And so, I just know through this experience that my body cleaves and is going to want more natural, organic foods and not the junk that I previously had put in my body, which was for me, a lot of soda. I don't know. I got hooked onto that several years ago. So I haven't had any soda for 2 weeks now, and I don't plan on having any more. I might have one every once in a while, but I'm not going to drink it as much as I did. Number two, I'm going to stop with the chip eating late at night. I'm going to eat more natural things. For example, I heard that in our area, there's going to be a farmer that comes that's going to sell crates or boxes of nectarines. We're going to take those nectarines and we're going to slice them up and we're going to dehydrate them. And that way I have something sweet to eat, but it's natural sugar. So my plan is going forward is to think more holy, if you will, like more clean, more pure, and ingest those foods that are healthy for the body, the natural body. So I'll be doing better about that. And so I would just invite you to eat more of God's food. The second thing that I learned through this process was that food bogs us down. I was worried about getting on to the hamster wheel and eating yesterday because I thought, here I'm going to lose all this euphoria and this focus and everything else, this great feeling that I feel. Because what happens when you eat food, that hormone ghrelin starts to produce, and now you feel hungry all the time. And then my brother asked me, hey, TJ, do you think they put a substance that triggers the ghrelin in fast food restaurants? And I said, you know what? I don't know for sure, but I would think that it would, that they do, that they put things in those things, maybe even soda, I don't know, that causes you to want to eat more. So stay away from those artificial foods, those cheap foods and so forth. Start eating more healthy. And I was afraid of getting on that. So I'm going to really, over the next week, really watch myself to be very strict. I'm going to stay on a keto diet for the next week. That's what's been suggested. So I'm going to stay on a ketone diet, and I'm going to make sure that I eat those live foods. And I should be able to keep some of that focus, euphoria, good feeling state. My mind was sharp, I tell you. When I was fasting, I was sharp. I didn't need as much sleep. I've shared that before. And why would I waste that in the middle of the fast by cheating? That's one thing you learn. Results are results, man. This is the law of meritocracy, right? Anybody can do it, right? Whether you're rich, poor, whatever ethnic background you are, doesn't matter. Anybody can go without food. Okay. And so if you go without food and you get to this place past 4 days where you feel great. Now, I invite you to check in with your physician, especially if you have medical issues. Make sure that you check in with your physician and do it right. And don't just drink water. You got to have electrolytes. And I believe you got to have some broth or something to help stabilize the body. But let me tell you, I do think that eating or sneaking food in the middle of a fast is only going to harm you. I didn't do it not even once because I didn't want my body to go backwards, right? If I'm spilling ketones at 4.5, which is really high, and it's burning my fat, why would I eat something that's cheap and then lose all that momentum I've had for the past 7 days or 11 days or whatever else? No, I waited all the way to the end. Another thought I've had is on a spiritual level, in the early 1800s, there's something in history, you can look this up, called the Second Great Awakening. The Second Great Awakening. It was during the Jacksonian time period. And there was a lot of fervor around spiritual things. And my belief is, going through this, that whether you're religious or not is not the point here. And when I mentioned it earlier on the 5th or 6th day, it's not the point. The point is that through this process, you start sort of feeling things a little bit more sensitively. Does that make sense? So for me, I tend to be a little bit of a crybaby anyway, but that went into overload, right? When I would hear things that would touch me or were special to me, tears would come down my eyes. And so I was just thinking about that time period, the Jacksonian time period, which was the Second Great Awakening time period, is, I asked ChatGPT, how many meals did people eat back then and before, right? The 1700s, 1600s, and so forth. And most people ate 1 to 2 meals. Now, if you were an aristocrat, you would eat 3, but they were small, natural, whole grain foods and so forth. And I thought there was likely times for many people that they went 2, 3, 4 days without food. And so I could see possibly where you have maybe a more fever for reaching toward the heavens, if you will, and to feel more feelings that you normally don't feel, that your body's not bogged down. And so I think in those cold months back then, where there was limited food because crops weren't growing and so forth, people, I think, felt things differently. And I started to feel that through this process, that maybe that's why so many religious sects and so forth came out of the early 1800s. And so I think fasting, even if you do it once a month for 1 day, I think it has a bigger benefit now. I think I have a testimony of that now, of the importance of fasting and giving your digestive system a break. The next thing is recognize that you're starving the first 48 hours. So don't cut yourself short. Eventually that feeling of starving will go away. I already mentioned that. And then autophagy. I know I'm not saying that right. The process of your body, once you get into day 3 and 4 and then beyond, your body starts shedding all the debris and the bacteria, bad bacterias and the bad cells out of your body. And that was my question. As I talked to you in one of the days about going, here we go, this is the good, the bad, the ugly, is bowel movement, and all that would come out was yellow water. And I told you that was bile. The body still produces from the liver bile that helps digest food, but there's no food there, so the liquid still has to come out. And I started thinking about when my kids were babies and their poo was a little orangish and yellowish and so forth. Where'd that come from? That was the bile. That was their liver working. Okay, so now it's all sort of making sense. Well, what I noticed in that watery substance of bile in the toilet is I noticed little debris of stuff, like a little bit of feces in there mixed in with it. So I studied why that would be. And the reason why that is, and this blew me away, and it'll probably blow you away, is your body without food is detoxifying itself. It's working on itself. It's getting rid of those debris, as I mentioned. Well, what it's doing is it's cleaning the walls of your intestines. And in the research, I found that we have food stuck to the walls of our intestines and to our stomach that had been there for years, depending on the food that we've eaten. Whoa, I never knew that before. So when you go beyond 4 days and you do this and your body shifts and starts cleaning itself up, I tell you what, hey, it's going to strip and clean the walls of your intestines and your stomach. So keep that in mind. That is a huge benefit. I learned through this process as well that I was once an engine motor, and now I'm a hybrid motor. When I was in the fasting state, I was hybrid. It was using its own fuel, the fat around me, to keep the energy high and so forth, and I felt great. So the key is try to stay going forward as hybrid as possible, and that probably means eating 2 meals a day instead of 3. It's limiting the calories, maybe staying a little bit, for me, staying a little bit higher on the protein so I keep my ketones working, which is going to burn the fat around me. So I might lose a little bit more weight going forward. I will also tell you that because we went the extra day, the full 11th day, I weighed myself yesterday morning and I had lost enough weight to equal 16 pounds. So in 11 days, I lost 16 pounds, and I'm not going to show it on the video. I'm not comfortable with it, but I took before and after pictures. And let me tell you something, I do look different, and you will look different too. So we don't do it. Hear me clearly here. We do not do something like this for simply losing weight. That's a good byproduct, but it's not something we do. We're not in this to do things unhealthily. We're in it to do it in a healthy way. I think I also mentioned that I took vitamins each day, and I would normally spread them out and do them over sections of the day. But one time I did them all together, and I hadn't thrown up ever since I was 5 years old, and I threw up. I had to run to the bathroom, and I threw all those vitamins up. So make sure you space your vitamins out if you're going to take vitamins. Okay. Last thing, in terms of eating food, my son mentioned to me that it's you preserve more nutrients when you steam your vegetables instead of boil them, and I found that was untrue. Okay, so here's the research. Yes, it's true that vitamin C's and A's and so forth will leach out of steamed vegetables less. Okay, that's fair. So they'll stay in the vegetable. But because my vegetables were in the broth, as it boiled, sure, it leached out of the vegetable, but the vitamins stayed in the broth, which I drank. So relatively, I got the same amount of nutrients. So whether you boil something or you steam something, it's probably all the same. Okay, are there any other thoughts that I have? I don't think so. Listen, I hope that you have found value in watching this particular mini documentary or podcast or whatever. I would just invite you that if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, then hey, I invite you to subscribe. My goal is to provide resources and tools that will help you move and succeed better in life. Also, as part of my podcast, I get to interview high performers in all different industries, like best-selling authors, New York Times best-selling authors, athletes, celebrities, thought leaders, and business leaders. And you know, I'm humbled and blessed to be able to interview these folks. And boy, is it a joy for me to do that. And I believe it gives value to you. So please subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed on my Apple podcast, go there to Unleash Your Greatness Within. By the way, we were recently trademarked, so that is super cool for us. Unleash Your Greatness Within phrase is a trademark phrase now, and we're grateful for that. And you can follow me on Spotify, on Stitcher, on Rumble. Make sure you go over there. And of course, on X. I am now currently starting to post a lot on X, so you can follow me there, and I invite you to do so. And if you want any more information around what I do in terms of helping organizations thrive and helping teams grow in such a way that the culture becomes more healthy and stronger, that they start performing at a higher performance level, that's one thing I have been doing for 25 years. So if you need motivation, you need some leadership training, you need some high performance training, I am there to support you. Okay, thank you for hearing me out on that. And again, as always, I wish you the very best, and may you unleash your greatness within. Okay, it's about noon on the 13th day. So yesterday, the 12th day, is when I had food for the first time. And I have not had any hunger pains, really no desire to eat, but I feel like I probably should put something into my body. So here's what I'm gonna do. It's noon right now. I'm gonna obviously have a boiled egg. That's a good protein, and it's easily digestible, so we'll go ahead and have that. And then I'm gonna have, if you can see it, I'm gonna have some sauerkraut. So, so good. Sauerkraut, excuse me, is really good for the bacteria in your system. So it's good to eat.